or 80, 70
Thank
cents.
you, Ann.
I did it.
Good morning, everyone. Will you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. It is July 7th. This is the Broadwater County Commissioners' General Meeting. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We do have an open meeting policy, also known as the civility policy. We do follow Robert's Rules of Order. We do have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all Broadwater County citizens. As our meetings are recorded and on YouTube, please state your full name for the record prior to comment. Any outside conversations need to be conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Anyone who wishes to speak will initially be given 3 minutes to do so. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into our meeting. And first on the list is public comment. Is there any public comment?
Madam Chairman, Commissioners Gravely, Slipka. Several months ago, I'd been reviewing the initial claims immediately before or after Commissioners meeting. I was told I was not allowed to do that, and I could request a copy of the compilation sheets. Those compilation sheets do not answer all of the where, when, what, why, and who information as do the individual claims. I understand the purpose of enabling the Commissioners to have a single vote to approve all the expenditures. However, there is no transparency in that procedure. As those claims are a part of public record and contain information the citizen and taxpayer of this county has a right to know, immediately following this meeting, I will resume reviewing the individual claims, and I expect the Commission to make whatever arrangements necessary to accommodate my request. I reserve the balance of my comment time, approximately 2 minutes, for follow-up questions and comments.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment?
Yes, Melinda Hall. I came here to start learning about this process, and I can see in the transparency of it. And one of those things was what Ms. Cheryl had just said. And she was going to teach me how to do that. And if once she is able to resume that, I will also be behind her, and I would like to know the same thing of her. And I also resume the rest of my time to be a follow-up. Thank you.
All right, any other public comment? John?
Laura, I made a presentation to you last Monday for you to make a presentation how you possibly can justify implementation of a non-existing law in our nation, and especially in this county. Parliamentary law does not exist. You would not answer, and I demand an answer, or the consequences will be follow-up of this document. Served on you one more time for complete action. You are a convicted criminal. The highest court in the land. That's treason with 50 constitutional violations, and you proceed to do just what you've been doing. It must come to an end. I reserve my time for your answer, and I ditto what the other two ladies just said. And I'm also going to serve this document on our news media, the copy of the case, which Elaine is also involved in it, charged and convicted. I would like to present these to you, if you please. And I reserve my time for an answer, once and for all. And consider yourself under a public arrest, citizen's arrest.
Okay, any other public comment? Public comment? Public comment, all right. As far as the claims go, you guys are more than welcome to look at those. They are public domain. The only thing is, it is not appropriate for you to sit at the commission table to do it or to co-opt our process in doing it. But you're more than welcome to see them. If you want to take any home, you need to do so with copies. You cannot take the actuals home. So you are welcome to that, it is public domain. John, thank you, we will put that on record.
You still won't answer.
All right, so, one
Madam
time,
Commissioner, when would it be convenient and where for me to look at those claims?
we'll have to work with an employee to see what that would, I'm gonna leave it to the board. Do one of you wanna come in midweek, set up a day and time, so that Cheryl can look at those with you? I'm in the office, but you know what? I'm gonna leave it to one of you two. Franklin, you guys are friends.
I'd say, see them here, we go through them here, but if you wanna look at them right here, if you wanna set up some other time, that's okay, but get her done,
I'd be willing to come in during the week sometime.
I'll let you go ahead and work with one of the other two commissioners. You can certainly sit at one of the desks downstairs in our office at any time. I don't think it's appropriate that Tammy should be pulled away from her work. She's got a full-time list of things that she needs to be doing in order to do that. As with anything in the courthouse, of course, whenever the public looks, it does have to be supervised so that things don't get lost or accidentally taken home. So, go ahead and work with either Franklin or Elaine, and you guys can come in and look at those at any time in the commissioner's office.
I would think that the day of, right after the meeting would be inappropriate because Tammy needs to get those into the system
Yeah,
and mailed out. But after that, anytime.
sure, yep. They are public domain. As far as doing it during this meeting, that's inappropriate. We have too much business to do in order to, halt things for that long, which I think is understandable. So.
It's pretty much done after the meeting part anyway.
Excuse me?
It's usually done pretty much after the meeting. I usually go through, again, sometimes I get them done before that, but I want to come sit right over here and find with me. I have no problem.
I think after the meetings though, frankly, on Mondays is a bad time because Tammy needs to get those processed. If we halt her process, we are creating more work for her, costing the county money and time. I think we need to be fiscal in what we do and responsible to all Broadwater County citizens. So we will move on to mail for 7 minutes. This is a letter, and I already took a copy of this one on accident, and so I'll give you that. This is a letter from the Community Development Division of Montana Department of Commerce. And thank you for the additional environmental information regarding our Treasure State Endowment Program, TSEP. The program was reviewed. The information, the application is now determined to be complete. Your 2007 biennium application will continue to be included as part of the TSEP competitive application review. That is, the whole thing is downstairs in the notebook, and of course there's an entire section on the EA, which has been a matter of discussion.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes, Tim?
Who is the contact person with the Department of Commerce on that TSEP?
It is Becky and Seth.
And Set?
And Seth.
TH.
ANSETH.
Thank you.
Sure. We also have from the Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks a notice for adopting rule number 1 pertaining to wolf management stamps. And anyone is welcome to make comment. If anyone would like to set up a time with the commission to discuss that, we certainly are open to that.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Tim?
on that particular subject, I urge the Commission to really take an official stand on that because the wolf management is going to be ruled under that stamp program, and it's very important.
Yep, we are fully engaged. Thank you.
What does it mean, Tim, if I may, Madam Chair? A wolf stamp.
Pardon me?
What does it mean, a wolf stamp? Is
What
that
the-
like a,
Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is going to create a new stamp to generate more funding to manage the wolf species specifically, and that stamp will be the vehicle to raise that funding, and then under that process, there will be rules established for management under that stamp program. It's kind of like our waterfall migratory bird stamp program, and those sidebar rules, regulations will really most likely be governed by special interest groups. So we need to make sure that we're on top of that.
I see they're taking comments until July 25th.
July 25th is the deadline.
All right, next we have, this is a letter from the Division of Fish, Wildlife and Parks. Montana State Parks is pleased to share with you Montana's latest outdoor recreation plan, titled Creating a Vibrant Future for Montana's Outdoor Recreation Heritage. This is just a welcome letter. The book is downstairs in the commission office. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick, so I didn't bring it up here. One, we wouldn't have time to read it, and two, I had full load. But you guys are more than welcome to come down and read it at any time, as is the public. Again, that is also public domain.
Back in that wool thing, they're wanting a $20 stamp. All it is just to take care of wool, is all they do is try to collect some wool and have it to me. Anyway.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Right. You know, we think it should be done with wool. And that's just gonna.
SSS.
Yeah.
I reserve further comments on that.
You didn't hear me say that out loud. They saw two at our mountain place the other day.
Did you?
I didn't, the guys did.
Yeah, predator, there's always been, you take care of predators. It's just if you get some of these other interest in on this thing, and just mushroom.
All right, next we have from our own sanitation office. A lot of these have been sent to us electronically. This one was hard copy in our mail. It's one for each of you, and it's just a letter from Julie with a request for her budget. And with this, I think we should start some Wednesday meetings to start working on the budget to address some of these requests for extra funding or resources or what have you from the different departments.
And what was the total budget last year?
I don't have that. The expenditure list is on the back. I think what we should do is schedule a Wednesday so that we can talk about that in depth and give you guys each a chance to read the letter. And we also have one from the school and the library. We have quite a few that have come in so far, so we'll need to address that. If it's okay with you, maybe next week, next Wednesday?
No problem.
Okay. It's 10:15, time for Montana Minute. Trying to do these at 10 o'clock, but we got scheduled at 10:15 for this week. So Franklin, you have anything you'd like to say on the positive about either our community or our state? Lane, do you have anything?
I do. I am just so proud when you look down Main Street, the flags are flying, the trees are all blossomed out. And I think the tree board, and I don't know if it's Chamber or who, but they really deserve a big thanks for making our town look so nice.
Thank you, I agree. I would also like to give kudos to our community over the 4th of July. There was the fly-in at the airport this weekend, and then also a community picnic at Heritage Park on the 4th. So just really bringing the community together, I think that's important for everyone, especially our kids, to see that. Any other 1-10 minutes from the audience? All right. We'll just go ahead and resume mail then. I should have done this first, I apologize. These are the minutes from June 30, 2014. They were sent to us electronically early last week.
Make a motion to approve minutes of last week.
I didn't get the first page, all I had was the second page.
These are the claims for next fiscal year. So Tammy asked that we keep them separate, but I just wanted to pull that out and just give kudos. I've asked her to attend these conferences, and she's jumping right in. So
Thanks, Debbie.
What's that? What's that? Second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 30, 2014. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And here's just a couple of claims that need a signature, so you can put them in the pile. Next, we have a request from the Broadwater Conservation District. They would like to request that their full allotted mills by law be allocated in this year's taxes to help fund the Conservation District. And this should probably just go in our budget paperwork to be worked on with the budget.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. What's the total number of mills that we're at?
I don't know, I'll give it to you in a minute unless Franklin can find it in there.
Thank you.
And that was already signed by Franklin at the Conservation District meeting. I think the total is on the 3rd page.
Okay, number of mills levied, 1.74, but it shows them 12,000, so that must be off different. So the millage dropped, because in the mill, about 13,000.
No, hold it, but they're a district.
They're different mill value.
Oh, okay, so apparently, number of levies, 1.74, the total amount, I'm assuming this was the last year one, it was 12,214.
Thank you.
You just put that with the budget stuff.
This is the working time.
Those are 15. And Franklin, I don't know if you heard, but we have the blue folder as fiscal year 15. The fiscal year 14 is loose. Tammy requested that we keep them separate and in order as best we can, just to streamline her process.
Okay, now what is that again then?
These are for 15.
And they're in the blue. Oh,
Yes.
okay, what's the
Yeah,
other
those
one?
are 14, just as we've been doing every week.
What color is the other one? The 14?
We don't usually have a folder, so it's just like we've been doing. So next, we have the approved claims from last week in the amount of $40,173.93.
Make the motion to pay claims at 40,000.
173.93.
Okay, whatever it is, I can't see.
173.93. I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to pay the approved claims in the amount of $40,173.93. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Do you want a copy of this, Ann, to the minutes? Okay, I'll put it in here, in the green one, for the budget. Thank you. I will give you that one. All right, as our issues and times are subject to change, Dana, come on up. Dana Rouser, Road and Bridge Monthly Update. Good, how are you?
Good.
How's your family being there?
Good, good.
Lots of people?
It was fun, yeah. Yeah, it was quite a few. 30, 40. Okay, we've started mowing here a couple weeks ago. Got Three Forks done. We moved up to 437 this morning and moving north here, so I got John Mazzola hired as just a temp, just get the mowing done. So, I don't know, he said he's not like he used to be, so I'm not sure what that means. I don't know
He's
how-
not what? He's not?
He's not like he used to be.
Oh.
He's not quite so gun ho here, so, but as long as we can get the mowing done,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any difference, so.
No, it's good that John, emergency, he can step in on something else. too.
Yeah, 'cause he's got his, he's got CDL and run grade and everything, so.
Yeah, he's perfect. I don't know, how many years did he work for the county? Quite a few.
20-something,
Was it?
yeah. So, but he just doesn't seem quite as ambitious as he used to. That's okay.
That
I
age
just-
has some.
Yeah, well, yeah. So anyway, that's fine, whatever, I just told him whatever he wants, whatever
Yeah.
we can get done, and,
That's great.
that way I get some stuff done, let the other guys just keep doing what they're doing. ESC's still crushing out Lone Mountain, they're going kinda slow, a little slower than anticipated, but they've had a few problems with that crusher too, trying to get things lined up right, make sure everything was working the way they wanted to get it working on. It's good, looks like a good product up there, but got a little over 1,000 yards up there right now, so, anyway.
How many they figure they can run out in a day, when everything's going good to get
If
everything?
I'm thinking they're thinking 400 to 500, it's just a small crusher,
Yeah,
it's not,
I saw it the one day over
yeah,
there.
so, if they could get that, that's not bad, we get a couple thousand up there.
They're gonna move from Lone Mountain to 6 Mile.
Well, I think we're gonna go down to Three Forks next.
Oh,
We'll get some at 6 Mile, I need to get down there and get some for that couple roads down there we're having some problems with, so. Cause I haven't run down there at all, just got pit run down there is all I got. And we've been hauling a little bit of lime rock down there just to heal up a few things there over the muddy season. In fact, I got a couple calls last week from some people. We got that pretty well cleared up, I think it looks pretty good, so far. So anyway, next week, 15th, I think it's Tuesday, at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're gonna have that asphalt zipper out here, and we're gonna be doing a demonstration out here, so.
What day is it gonna be?
15th, Tuesday morning, at 8 o'clock. And anybody wants to come and look at it and watch it a little bit, that's fine. We're gonna tear up this whole chunk of pavement out here from that street down here to this street, whatever they are, Walnut to Oak or whatever it is. So anyway, I don't know how long it'll take. They're thinking it can do it in 3-4 hours,
Is that right?
I'm assuming. And then we'll have to just, bucket it up and haul it away, so we'll be working pretty heavy out back here. I think Mike's gonna make sure that all the parking lot's free and clear of cars and vehicles, and so we can get in and out. So anyway, I think they're planning on doing a lunch thing, just a few sandwiches for whoever's gonna show up, and I'm thinking it's, I invited Mark County, and that'd be, part of my Mackers thing too, so, I invited them. I don't know if we're just getting this together right now, and we'll have it pretty well laid out by the end of the week, but, Lewis and Clark and Jefferson, so there'll probably be a few of them showing up.
And what time is it gonna be?
8 o'clock is when they're gonna start. I mean, they're gonna get down here, we'll have to get the machine on in front of the bucket, and, we'll have our loaders here, because it's gotta go in front of that 928. It's got its own motor and everything, so. Anyway, that's going on. That'll take, most of the day, or half the day anyway, to get it ground up. And then we'll spend the next day or so just getting it cleaned up. The guys are doing some pipe on Lower Duck Creek this morning from the little washout we had last week. Week and a half ago. Canal Mountain, I saw him up there. Yeah. Up there where it comes down to the end of Joe Nelson's up there, and then it gushed down onto the road and washed down around the corner and tore a big hole in it, so filling the pipes up, so we're putting in some different pipe.
That's the
And-
spot where you shoot, is that before, that's the
Yeah.
same spot, right?
Yeah, what happens is there's kind of a little catch pond up above there on the Gulfs where Joe Nelson's doing his farming up there. Well, if everybody hasn't got their pivots and everything synchronized just right, and they get too much water coming down there, I mean, it comes down there and it just gushes right down there, so. And normally the pipe we have there is enough to hold it, but this time it wasn't. So Canal Board actually bought a 36-inch pipe, and that's what they're doing. They're putting that one in on top, then we're going down back in the bottom and putting a 2-footer in there, 'cause that one, it got completely filled up and plugged up, so. Gonna fix that a little bit. I was down mowing on Meridian Road 2 weeks ago. Got a hole in the pipe. The pipe was washed out, or not washed out, but rusted out on top, kind of over in the right-hand driving lane as you're going south. So I got a hold of Leonard Wortman. We share that road with Jefferson County, and he hasn't got back to me yet, so I'm gonna have to get a hold of him and see. He thought he had another pipe. If we would put it in, he'd provide the pipe. So, other than that, I haven't been up Dry Creek yet. You called me on it last week. I haven't been up there yet. Haven't had time. But hopefully the next day or two we'll get up there.
Okay.
I drove up there. I was up there one day last week, I think, before you called. It was a little rough, but it didn't seem to be too bad.
It was the lower end the way I took it to be, it was really bad, but I wasn't up there either,
Yeah.
so I just went on what the call was said to.
But I know TJ had been up there, probably 3 weeks prior to that. But we had all that rain since then too, so. In fact, I was up there with Sean Higley and Mike Conkey. That's when I was up there, looking at those pipes and stuff. So, other than that, that's about all I got. We're gonna be doing some graveling here on Shelley and Hahn here. I got my FEMA money, so, I'm gonna try to get that done here while it's dry and not much grading going on, so. at least try to get some hauling done. And Lone Mountain, I was on it this morning there, we're gonna have to do a little hauling on the bottom end of that. You know, there's a chunk in there between Jerry Colberg's house, right there by the creek, by
Yeah.
Marty's Corrals. Just a short stretch there we'll haul on because it kinda stays washboarded.
Got bad there last year, real bad, didn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Last
And
fall,
then,
yes.
Down below that, basically from Shelley on down to the highway, we'll probably haul on that too, cause we're having trouble holding that down. But other than that, you know, I mean, there's a few roads out there that are a little rough, but most of them pretty well.
Rumor has it Josh called you.
Yeah, I called him in and I called him back.
Do you have his phone number? Because when I tried calling him, it told me that wasn't the correct number.
Yeah, I've got it shot.
Okay,
I think,
if you could get it to me.
yeah.
Or
Yeah,
even his last name, I could just write it to him.
yeah, Shively. And I had a little conversation with him Thursday. I mean, I don't know, he's, I lives in Jefferson County there, you know, with a bunch of the rest of those people. There's probably 7 or 8 of them that live down on that end of Wheatland Road, and I don't know.
But they actually live in Jefferson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't pay Broadwater County tax, they don't live in Broadwater County, you know. They just drive that one section of road, you know what I mean? It's only a mile of dirt, and it's really not that bad. Cause TJ and I were down there, I talked to him a little bit, and TJ and I were down there the day after they had that flash flood down there here 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. And still, even with the worst road there was basically just going up the hill off of Wheatland on Rolling Glen. And then we got that fixed here last week. I mean, we put more gravel in it, so. But, end of Wheatland, it wasn't bad. I drove up a 2-wheel drive without a problem, so. I don't know. That's the way it is. So. Other than that, that's about what we got. I'm gonna be gone, 21st through August 3rd. TJ will be in charge, so have some stuff lined out.
I think I mentioned to you last time about the patching around on the old bridge they're tossing.
Oh, yeah, I haven't got my stuff yet, I gotta go get some more patch there, but,
There's a few holes starting there towards the railroad tracks, and there's one
yeah.
getting a little bigger each time on the curve there.
Yeah, that's the only spot right there, and I don't think there's any back off the bridge to the bunkhouse, is there?
No, just that one,
Yeah, I think,
that one. It's getting, Ambler's about so big now, it's about,
yeah,
but it's quite deep there. And, yeah, so, and then there's that 2 sections on the bridge.
yeah,
And then there's about 3, there's small ones toward right close to the tracks.
yeah. I think some of that we might have to try to chip some of that old stuff off, you know, cause it kinda comes up a little bit.
They put a new crossing in there and everything here a couple weeks ago. The
Yeah.
railroad did.
Yeah, how's that?
It's pretty good right now.
Pretty good?
The spur part isn't too good, but
Yeah,
that's the roughest part, but the other part isn't too bad.
yeah, okay. All right, yeah, I'll get some more of that picked up and we'll get them patched up and go from there.
Would you call me with Josh's number?
I will.
Because when I called, I thought I must have dialed wrong, so I did it again.
Yeah, okay. Yep, I will get that for you.
Thank you.
You know, he's an all right guy, I just, anyway. Different county, gotta call and complain, but they do.
Dana, when is the plan on putting on new asphalt in?
John, you will direct the chair after raising your hand to be recognized. This is a conversation between the commission and our road supervisor. Any other questions you have of Dana, you can ask of us, and we will relay those to him. But there will be no more talking at people's backs as they're here giving their reports. So,
Okay,
all right, thank you. Any
All
other
right.
questions for Dana? All right,
all right,
thank you, Dana.
okay. I will be back from my meeting on August, like I said, it'll be those 2 weeks.
Okay,
And I'll get back Friday, so. I'll
excellent.
be around.
All right,
All right?
thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
All right, we are a little bit bit early, a lot bit early. And we are done with our mail, so anything you guys want to bring up for the good of the order? You can also do our commissioners' community update at this time.
Want to do that first?
Sure, sure. Franklin, do you have anything to report from the week?
Attended the search and rescue meeting, and then the meeting we all attended with Corey, the new forest ranger, and I forgot the gal's name for Chester's office.
Anything to report that was discussed? I know that three of us were at the last two. How about search and rescue?
Oh, I just quarterly, since Corey wants to meet with the commission, kind of give an update of what's taking place.
Did they want us to schedule something on that, or are they gonna call?
I think he's gonna
schedule?
get back on
Okay,
that.
so we'll wait to hear from him.
I think that's what you think, Elaine, was that what it was? I think he's gonna get back to us on the first date, and then,
The search and rescue?
no, on the, with Corey,
Oh,
on the,
Well, we already set that up with
Yeah.
Corey there at the meeting, and that's already in the
well, okay,
book.
that's what I thought it was.
But the search and rescue, anything to report on that? Did they want to get together with us too, or are we waiting to hear from them?
Oh, well, mainly we talked about the new truck, and then, and did some discussing on the bathrooms there, and maybe raising that floor up.
At our monthly meeting, so a lot of the folks are just having discussions about the plan of attack for obviously drain issues, floor issues, and everything else, but took out another search and rescue member. So I don't know what that makes. I've lost track. Gave out some coats. Talked about training, so we got a new training coordinator, Jeff Brown, he's out of the Tossin area. And he's setting up some pretty good stuff, so then I reviewed the rope rescue from last week on, when the two gals got stuck up on the cliff, so.
All right, thank you very much.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
This weekend, with it being a long weekend, did you have any search and rescue?
Two.
things? Really?
Both yesterday. Stranded boats out on the, north and, well, not north of the Wide Earth area. Family got stranded, and then when they got towed in, they got advised there was one about a mile out. So they go back and get that one too, and get them into shore. So, they had it all done in about 4 hours. But,
Because of the wind, was it?
I don't know. I didn't get a report back from, I didn't know about it till this morning, so, other than that, so, it's been kind of a busy month already, so, I only have three calls in the last 7 days or so, 'tis the season.
Oh, yes. How'd that truck work?
Which one?
How'd the truck work?
Yeah, I haven't got it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, as soon as they can get that, then we'll get the radio put in it and everything else, so. Probably a week and a half, probably before we get that on the ground and moving, so. If all goes well, so that's where that's at.
Okay.
Okay.
Elaine, anything to update with the Commissioners' Community Update?
I too was at the meeting with the Forest Service and also with Senator Tester's field person. She seemed very interested in what we're doing, took lots of notes. And Corey was very cordial with the Forest Service, wanted to know what we were doing, what were our thoughts, and willing to work with us. So I thought that was very good with the meeting set up in the future, so
Mm-hmm.
very positive thing.
Yes. I was at those meetings as well, and we're going to be setting up quarterly meetings, excuse me, or bi-monthly meetings with Forest Service, BLM, BOR, and Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, just so that we can continuously be aware of what's coming up, what's going on, and build relationships before any emergencies, kind of what we talked about. We had a list of things for Shannon to take back, to work on behalf of Broadwater County. And then the other thing is Sean Higley called. CDBG grants are out, community development block grants. And there's two different things that he wanted to have us talk about regarding that grant. One is our growth policy is in dire need of being updated. It needs to be updated, at least addressed every 5 years. 2008, before you and I came on board, it was discussed, there were no updates made to the growth policy. So it is quite outdated. A CDBG could actually, it's a 75-25, 75%, 25% match. So for work that we have to do by law anyway, it's a financial assist. The other thing too is to continue a Parks and Trails plan. We have the trail going north of town on the other side of the bridge. That is unfinished at this point. We could put together a plan. There's a lot of people that are interested in a trail out to the fairgrounds so that kids can actually go out there on their bikes and not be on the highway. There's also continual plans kind of jumping around for the Townsend South project. So what do you guys think? What we need to do is, if we are interested, let Sean know so we can put something together. We can pursue one CDBG for the growth policy. We also have to update the subdivision regs with the renter lease laws, and that would be in there as well. Or Parks and Trails.
What did Sean think it would cost?
I don't know, I didn't get a price from her. I don't know. The thing is we're legally obligated to do both of them, so it'll cost us either 25% of the total or 100% of the total, but we still need to do it. So as far as a guesstimate, that would be something he would be able to look at after he gets our go-ahead, but he probably wasn't gonna put a lot of time into it till he knew we were interested.
I think it makes sense to do it.
I do too.
If we're required, we can get help, so much the better.
Right, yeah.
So I
So-
would make a motion that we go forward
Okay,
with both projects.
okay.
I'll second it, mainly because we gotta
You don't have any
do
choice.
it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go ahead and talk to Sean about moving forward with two CDBGs, one for the growth policy and subdivision regs update, and the other one for a Parks and Trails plans. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, so.
There again, all it is just a bunch more bureaucracy on that stuff.
Well,
Just keeps-
actually, it's not true, Franklin. The growth policy, if anything hits this county that is not healthy for this county, the growth policy is the legal document that we can use. Or if we want to pursue something to benefit this county, the growth policy is actually a legally binding document. It's one of the few really strong pieces of muscle we have as a county. The other thing is the subdivision regulations. Those are required by law, and they dictate on behalf of any developer who wants to do anything in our county what they can do and how they can do it. The legislature implemented new legislation during the last session that created a whole new section of law with subdivisions, and it's called the Renter Lease Act, and that has to be included in those regulations. Yeah, it is more bureaucracy, but it's not one of those things we can just poo-poo because it's just more bureaucracy. It's something we have to do. We're legally bound to do these things. As far as putting together plans, whenever you have a plan, you know, it's the old adage, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. You end up spending a heck of a lot more money if you're just Band-Aiding all the time rather than putting together a plan so that you know what phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 are and where the funding is.
Now, speaking of which, this fall, later in the fall, I guess, after the election, whoever our legislator is, whether it be Kelly or the lady running against him, we need to have them here to talk to them about our concerns with what they may be doing or not.
Yeah. Would we be wise to set up appointments with both of them prior to? Because once the election's over, they are going to be running 100 miles an hour getting ready for the session.
And that might be a very good idea.
You want to try and get those two to come and talk to us and let us share what's going on here and hear some of their thoughts? Okay. Good
Don't
with
you
you,
think,
Franklin?
Franklin?
All right.
Excuse me, Madam Chair?
Yes, Tim?
This process moving forward on the CBDG grant process and making that application and moving forward on that, would it be possible to have the commission put that on the agenda so that the citizens can understand more in-depth detail of what that process is and how you folks are planning on moving forward with that?
Those things are
Appreciate it.
always on
Thank
the
you.
agenda, without question. But what we needed to do is know if we were even gonna have Sean get the preliminary work done. He's not gonna put in the hours if we're gonna say, now we're not interested. So as soon as he is able to come and see us, he will be bringing that forth, and it will be fully on the agenda, yes.
Thank you.
We didn't necessarily need to vote on it, but what we needed was an agreement on the record that we want Sean to go ahead and move forward.
Thank you.
So, you bet. So, we are still a little bit ahead of schedule. We do have a claim here. This is for, from Pilt and to the city of Townsend, and this is the water, sewage, and garbage for the ambulance building.
I'll make a motion to pay the city of Townsend for the garbage, water, and sewer out of Pilt.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay $64.80 for the extension office, water, sewage, and garbage from Pilt. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Madam Chair, I hate to be a pain.
Yes, Tim.
Could I ask how much that claim is?
I did say the amount in the motion, $64.80.
Thank you, I missed it, I apologize.
Nope, that's fine. All right, I think we're in a holding pattern for about 12 minutes till Doug comes on up. So might be a good time to just kind of get some of these claims done. If you have anything else for the good of the order, feel free to bring it up.
So will we start next week on budget?
Yeah, if that works for you guys.
Works for me.
All the department heads have their last year's and their budgets for this year to go ahead and fill those in and work on those. And the other thing is, real quick, is we used to do budget amendments for moving funds within a fund. And it's always been a question why when we do bottom line budgeting. And so Debbie's been pursuing this, and Kim Downey's been on vacation, who's our auditor. And there was legislation about 5-6 years ago that said, as long as you do bottom line budgeting within a fund, you don't need to have an amendment for switching money from one line to the next. But if you switch from, say, one general fund to extension, then you have to do it, which makes sense. So we won't be, Debbie won't be spending days putting that together, and we won't be addressing that. It will be in the budget process, but it won't be a separate item that we put on the agenda and she goes through, because it's really a waste of time and money. So I
It's
just
not
bringing
needed.
that up. Yeah, the legislature said that's not necessary because frankly, it doesn't make sense. So, and that email is on record if you guys want it. Yes, Trudy?
Question, Trudy Southwick. How does the county compensate Sean Higley for his work that he does for the county? Is it a contract price? Is it per task or?
All of the above. we have a contract with him, I believe it's a 3-year contract. He is the county engineer, floodplain manager, and he assists the planner. So he's kind of a resource for questions, that kind of thing. We pay him an hourly rate for the different jobs that he does, and depending on if it's floodplain, or if it's planning, or if it's engineering, there's a different rate. If it's something that a secretary does, then it's a different rate. So there's a scale of rates that we pay him. And then for the grants, most of those have administrative fees or costs attached to them, and that is how they make their money from that. So.
Because of the administrative portion of that grant that they were able to use to cover that part. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Was that contract just recently renewed with him this year, or?
No, I think it was last year or the year before.
Could I get a copy of that, possible?
Yeah, absolutely you can. Yeah. We used to have a county engineer. This was long before I was on the board, but it's a lot more expensive to have somebody of that kind of education as a full-time employee, as you can well imagine, than having the contract and having them step in as needed. So that's the commission prior to us to make that decision, and so far I think it's been a good one. So the work we throw to our county engineer is not full-time. So why pay someone for full-time? We can certainly revisit that if you guys ever want to. It's certainly something anyone can bring up for discussion.
Well, and I think that Nicole does a good job in taking care of some of that stuff that we would otherwise be sending to Sean unnecessarily, so.
Right, yeah. Yeah, bringing that in-house was a good financial move. But during the time, again, for us, when the subdivisions hit all at once, it certainly helped the county to have that as a contract, because the learning curve, there wasn't time for anybody to go through it. And the one lawsuit we had, actually they went after both, so we were able to have a good, strong team for the county.
Another question. Where is the county with the special prosecutor?
In process. I don't know any kind of a timeline myself. Do you guys? No, so in process is the only answer I have. I will say though, I haven't seen a single claim come in yet. He is a county attorney from another county.
Right.
And it was discussed before that this is kind of a courtesy agreement that county attorneys have. So until there's some kind of travel or cost that he accrues, there's no cost to us.
Right.
As far as his hours, that's being paid for by Allen County. So it's a nice deal for us in this case.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Tim?
Do you have wondering what's happening in Moat here? Do you have a report on what's going on with the audit of our public safety department?
As far as the reserve deputies, is that what you're asking about?
The firm that was hired in Butte was going to do an audit.
Yeah, it's actually Helena, and it's Anderson Zermelian was doing a fiscal audit. And no, I don't. I expect that any day now. You guys have any updates, any more information? No. So again, waiting game. You know, what their process is, I don't know. on either one, not being either a lawyer or an accountant. So at this point, we're just in a holding pattern until we get something back. But as soon as we do, it's all a matter of public record, and that'll be brought to a public meeting.
Our only hope is it doesn't all hit at once.
Right, right.
Well, I got a question. I see there were some keys. Does anyone have the combination for that TV translator? The meter box up there. There's a combination lock, and this charger doesn't have it either.
Is it downstairs somewhere?
It could be, yeah, that might be something to talk to Mike about, or perhaps call Gail about, he might have it. He used to do the TV work.
Now, is that air conditioner here and up and running?
You know, they sent the wrong one.
Oh, they did?
Okay, and I think it was Thursday. Yeah, and they sent just the air conditioner, was either the one, so there's a combination of heating and cooling. They sent the wrong one.
Hey Brenda, there's a claim here from Morrison Merrily. Just to let you know, we do have a new IT company, it's VIS.
That was before.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that you were in the loop on that, because I think they're gonna save us a lot of money. And that'll help with the budget. So just letting you know.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
And other commissioners, those claims that you're looking at right now, if you'll caution whoever takes care of that, not to file those away before I can make an appointment with someone to get in here and review those claims.
Yep, she will not be able to file them until she gets them processed, so we'll just ask her to go ahead and put those aside until such time.
Thank you.
I see the horses all have names. Did they come with names or?
Other than the baby.
Yeah. they do this? Oh, sorry, Madam Chair.
Yeah,
Can I ask a
absolutely.
question? They had that big roping out there, and so they had a semi backed in to the chute. How did they unload those if the gates were locked? Or do we know?
I think John went up and, while they were,
Oh, okay.
running around the room.
'Cause I saw that and I thought, I wonder what they did then. I was curious.
All right, it's 11 o'clock. Doug Ellis, treasurer, delinquent mobile homes. Come on up.
Morning, Doug.
Just to forewarn you, I pulled my hearing aids Friday to get them checked, so you're working with the hearing impaired.
Do you want us to haul it?
Thank you.
You might have to.
Look right at him when
This-
they talk.
And we'll move our hands really
I
fast.
can't tell how loud I'm talking or anything, so. Anyway, these are mobile homes. I went back to 93. This is supposed to be done every year. It just hasn't been done since 93. Judy started on it once and never followed through with it, but, it's just for the mobile home taxes that are delinquent. And I did the first sheet is just a Excel spreadsheet that I did. When you look at the first amount, it says 123,000. That sounds pretty staggering, but when you look at the interest, 56,000 of that is interest. And a lot of these are mobile homes that have probably been moved out of the county and we just can't get them out of the tax rolls until we go through the procedure of, putting a sticker on the mobile homes if they're there. And actually, that's something the sheriff has to do. So this is, starting this process is gonna be a big burden, I think, on the sheriff's office more than anything. That's kind of where we fell apart on it the last time. I know Ben was working on it and he was going out and starting to sticker them and something came up and pulled him away from it. So, it is gonna be pretty time consuming for the sheriff's office. Our office will have to write a writ to have this done, and then they will go out and serve that. And, after that point, if the people, who are delinquent on their mobile homes wanna pay, they actually have to pay the sheriff's office, and the deputy or whatever officer they put in charge of this would bring the money back to the county. But, every year, you're supposed to take taxes that are 5 years older than 5 years off the books. They're no longer collectible. And that's what this list is. Taxes that should have been taken off each year and just never were.
So how can they move a trailer, Doug, with taxes on it? Wouldn't they have to be current before they could move it?
If they came in to get a moving deck, they would. But it's just like what happened at Goose Bay. I mean, they come in at midnight and hook onto it and take off, and who knows where it went, or, you know, some of them might be homes that were destroyed. You just never know. It might be sitting on a pasture somewhere. It's hard to say. That's one thing that'll come up once we start doing the collecting of them.
Well, these ones over 5 years, so we might as well just forget about them.
Yeah, they're actually legally, they're not
Right.
collectible.
So everything that's here is collectible.
Everything that's here, no, this is not collectible.
Oh.
This is all, I went back to 2009, so,
So what,
So what-
so this list doesn't mean anything to us then?
well, this is, These are the ones that have to be removed from the tax rolls. But in order for me to remove them, I need a resolution from the commissioners to do that.
Oh, okay.
And we just did the 2014 mobile homes. So we've got 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10 would be 5 years. That's why I started at 2009 on here, or ended at 2009.
What do you mean by you just did mobile homes for this year? Did you just send out the tax notices?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Some of these have been there quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there was one, just as an example, there was one out in Winston that had been abandoned. Nobody had lived in it for 5, 6, 7 years. And nobody knew where the owner was, but you can't take it off the tax rolls because it's still there. Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, people get wind that if they're 5 years old, they're uncollectible. So they'll pay their land tax and not their mobile home tax, which is why we have to get this process started to
Start addressing.
start having that mobile home stickered. Just let them know from now on, that's not gonna be allowed. But we went, Charles and I visited with Lewis and Clark County here a few months ago. And they actually have one person in the treasurer's office that does nothing but delinquent taxes. They have one person in the sheriff's office that does nothing but delinquent taxes.
Really? I was at a treasurer's meeting one time, and a lady, and I believe she was Helma or Missoula, I can't be sure which, that handled that kind of thing. And believe me, she was tough. Just in talking to us, you could tell she was tough.
Yeah, that was probably her.
So,
I talked to the deputy and he said he went as far as in collecting the mobile home taxes, he went as far as having there was a family that had, I don't know if it was a family, the person who had put new windows in their mobile home and still owed delinquent taxes, and he got them to put the old windows back in, take the new windows back to the store and pay their taxes with the money that they,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
So they take it pretty seriously there, which it should be. It's,
Right.
Madam Chairman? Hang on just a minute. One of the things, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but we start off in 1993 with one delinquent trailer, or mobile home. This is just mobile homes, right? It's not
Right.
personal
yeah,
property. Well, then we go through the years, and that number progresses upward,
Yeah.
2, 7, 5, 9. Fast forward to 2009, and we have 72. It seems to me that, one of the things we're charged with is equity, treating everybody the same. But also, has word gotten out there that Broadwater County is a soft spot for this, to the point where in, 15 years, we've gone from one delinquent motorhome to 73. This was kind of your idea, Franklin, do you have any comments on what you're seeing or anything so far?
Other than stay on top of it, have to be enforced before those 5 years come up.
Right.
Now, these here, it's gone.
Yeah, our hands are kinda tied on these, I
Yeah.
don't think.
Of course, I'm sure, I think you mentioned once before, the taxes are due, none of these companies that pick up taxes want trailers.
Right, yeah,
So-
and well, and really the people that do the tax liens on real estate, these aren't even open to that without us stickering the mobile homes and having the sheriff, well, actually, the sheriff goes out and stickers them. But until that process is done, a mobile home isn't handled like real estate. You can't do a tax lien on a mobile home. You can't just go out and pay the taxes and assume
What
ownership of it.
So what kind of enforcement is available then?
Well, we'll have to, that's what, the process you have to go through, there has to be a writ served on the owner of the mobile home telling them that their taxes are delinquent. And if they're not paid within so many days, that the home will become property of the county. The sheriff department will have to go out, they put some of them are green, some of them are fluorescent orange stickers on the
I've seen
mobile
those.
home.
Yeah. Quite a few years ago, there was a bunch of those put out one time.
Right, yeah.
But, so in other words then, what would you give them, a year?
Oh, no, no, in order to, I think it gives them,
I mean, how long can they be delinquent before you start this procedure?
oh,
A year
yeah,
probably?
yeah. Yeah, so the ones that are after this list, 2010, 11, 12, those are all,
Could be.
those could be stickered.
Right.
Right,
But as far as these here, it's gone.
right.
How many is there, like, do you recall now roughly that action could be taken on? You have kind of a big ballpark.
How many for what?
And this, that could be, action could be taken on. Do you have a ballpark number, how many there is?
How many trailers?
Yeah, 11 and 12, or the ones that could still go back on.
Oh, no, they're still on the tax rolls, it's just the people aren't paying their taxes. So I imagine it's probably fairly close to the last number, probably 72. And I don't know, of those 72 that are on 2009, I don't know how many of those are still out there. That's what would come up by going out and serving them. And if the deputy goes out to serve that writ and the mobile home's gone, then it can come off the tax rolls. It's been moved or destroyed or whatever happened to it. It's kind of a cleanup procedure. You have to find out if they're still there to begin with. And if they are, maybe the ownership's changed, maybe the bill's going to the person that owned it 5 years ago, and the one living in it now isn't even getting a bill. It's hard to say. It's kind of a investigative step to find out, are these still here, who owns them, who should be paying the bill? And that might be part of, I don't know when they started, well, for instance, the Mountain Home Trailer Court, I don't know when that started out there.
Is that the one on Canton?
Yeah. So I don't know if that has something to do with, why the numbers jumped.
They seem to progress gradually. if you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like any particular year it took a drastic jump, except for 2008.
Yeah,
It jumped from 46 to 63, that's about the biggest jump. And then 8 and 9, it went from 63 to 72. So Doug, if through this process, the trailers become the property of the county and they are not really something that could be sold, they need to be taken to Helena, that becomes the county's responsibility, correct?
right. Yeah, they actually become a liability.
And that would be something that these funds would help to pay for. The money that does come in would help to pay for that, and also would help compensate both your office and the sheriff's office for the additional hours. But we're considerably smaller than Lewis and Clark, so we wouldn't
Yeah.
be looking at full-time. But there would still be more hours involved.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, there's still mobile home taxes, the funds are gonna go to whatever
Oh, I hear
department
ya.
they're
Okay, all right,
milled out to go to.
okay. So it
So,
doesn't,
yeah, it's not gonna be, other than helping collect delinquent taxes, it's not gonna be an increase in our funds, there's no special charge there are some charges that they, once they stick around, there are some fees that the sheriff's office can recover. I'm not sure that it would cover their time and their effort, but it would help.
yeah. So Lewis and Clark had said at one time that the money, the revenue they get in is enough to pay for that extra work.
Right.
But that isn't a reality of how the money is
Well,
used,
right.
because it goes,
Yeah.
it's spread out throughout the county.
Yeah, if these had been all collected, the tax amount would have been 56,000. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's a penalty and interest, the tax amount was 66,000,
The difference, yeah.
so.
But if the message gets out there that we are not letting them slide,
Right,
then those numbers should go down also, which means the workload pursuing this goes down.
right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I would hope is, as we progress with this, the word's gonna get out, whatever word there was saying, that maybe we're too lenient will correct itself and,
yeah. Yeah, there'll always be some, I would think, but if we can get that number decreased from 72, we'll be moving in the right direction.
right?
Some of these people got on clear back, and they're still there today.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the only way to collect those taxes is to do the writ and sticker the home. And once they set up a payment schedule with the sheriff, or the sheriff's office, then I think at that point, they're given 60 days, I think, and I'd have to reread through that whole process. But if they don't have it paid within that amount of time, then I think it's $100 or $125 that they can be charged, which will go to the sheriff's office. So if they're given that time period, say it's 60 days, and they don't get it paid, they're charged $125. If they make another arrangement and they don't pay it, then they're given another $125 fine. So that doesn't mean you have to accept what they give you. It just means that, if they make an arrangement and don't keep it, you fine them, maybe give them a second chance, and they don't keep that. It doesn't mean you wouldn't take their their trailer for delinquent taxes, but they do have a say-so in what happened. I mean, they have a chance to pay the taxes.
How long time frame is that?
I think it's 60 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and check everything, because this really doesn't have anything to do with that process, other than it should be done each year. And if you're not gonna do the other process, it's like you say, this is started at 1 and it ends with 72, and where's it gonna go from there? So, I mean, just to come in and ask you guys to do a resolution and leave fat, dumb, and happy and say, well, we'll do this again next year, that's not very responsible. You know, if we're gonna forgive $66,000 worth of delinquent taxes, then we need to start doing something to lower that amount.
The flip side of that too is if these people are not subject to paying their share of the tax, then should all homeowners not be paying their tax?
Right.
I mean, that's the flip side of it.
And I think that's probably how this list has grown, is when one person will tell another, well, I haven't paid my taxes for 6 years, and
Yeah, so
Yeah.
somebody else does the same, yeah. So Doug, the process then is, we need a resolution to clean up the books from everything
Right.
5 years and older. And then we need a resolution to start the writ.
I don't know that I need a resolution for that, we just need to start it.
Okay, all right, all right.
Yeah, that's just a process that we have to, in my office, we have to get it going, and with the sheriff's office. I'm not sure how Brenda's gonna handle that. It's, you know, it's obviously, for the first year, it's gonna be a lot of work. I mean, if there's 72 homes that, on this tax roll, that's gonna be 72 site visits that their deputy will have to do, and contacts with people, and,
Yeah.
it's,
This may be one of those where, $66,000 spread out amongst all the funds, that's gonna help some of the bigger budgets. That would help make a dent in this.
Yeah.
But to get to that point.
well, and that's 17 years worth of
Right.
delinquent taxes too. I mean, it's not,
True,
it's not 56,000 or 66 a year, it's 17 years worth.
true. But if you look at the last 2 years, that right there's 41.
Yeah,
So, the first year was $400.
right.
Then we get up to 21,000 in 2008. So, yeah, you're right, but it also is these
Yeah.
later years starting to make a difference.
Right.
Yeah,
And that doesn't, I mean, of that 20,000, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many of those are collectible and how many aren't.
yeah,
That's what going through that process, we'll find out if this home's still here, is this person still own it? Did it move out of the county overnight and go somewhere else? Was it destroyed by fire and never taken off the books, or is it out in the middle of a pasture?
yeah. There's a gal who, in the county that lives close to one of the lots that has it has a lot of old trailers, a bus, that kind of thing in it. And, she is concerned about the health side of it. She's got kids. The lot, or the property next to them has this on it. Well, that's a condo for rats, skunk, what have you, rabies. And she's got kids. So that's the other side of it that we need to be thinking about, is we need to know which ones of these trailers aren't just abandoned because they burned, whatever.
Right.
But they shouldn't be sitting out there to be, a place where we're developing rabies. So, can you get a resolution, say, from Lewis and Clark County for us?
Well, they have one, and I actually, had one on my computer that I retyped. I took a copy of this to Carla last week to have her check over and make sure everything was fine, and I haven't heard back from her.
Okay.
So, that's pretty much word for word what Lewis and Clark says, other than the Broadwater County part of it.
Okay,
But if you wanna maybe talk to Carla, or I could talk to her and see if she had a chance to look at that. You know, to be fair to her, I didn't get it to her until Wednesday, so, Tuesday or Wednesday.
and I do wanna say, I heard some snickering over that. That's unfair. When you talk to any county attorneys take a couple weeks to go through this because this isn't their priority. What's their priority is taking care of the bad guys, prosecutions, which is 85% of their job. So I think it's very unfair. Any county attorney needs a little bit more time than, what, a day and a
Yeah.
half before a holiday. So
Right.
let's be civil
And I
about
didn't-
this stuff.
I wasn't sure, the only reason I went to her is I wasn't sure if it was her job to type the resolution or mine, and I wanted to
Probably
make sure it
ours
was
to
done.
type it, hers to give it a double check. But yeah, if you check with her, I'll check with her, and then we'll get it started in the process for next week.
All right. But yeah, I mean, the amounts look staggering when you first look at them, but when you consider 17 years and almost half of it is penalty and interest.
Yeah,
And, you know, if they didn't pay their tax, well, if they would have paid them on time, the penalty and interest wouldn't even have been there, for one.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just it's kind of a,
So have these people
So-
just forgotten about taxes, or are they just falling on hard times?
you know, I think probably some of them are falling on hard times. I think some of these homes are no longer here. It's hard to say.
It's probably all of the above.
Yeah,
Yeah, every conceivable answer is probably tied up in those 17 or 72 trailers.
yeah.
Okay, so now for an example, say Joe Blow down here has a trailer. You find that the trailer is there and he's still there and everything.
Mhm.
So everything up beyond the 5 years is just wiped off. So then you can start the process of what, above this,
2010.
or, yeah, 2010. And the rest of it just is gone.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so-
even if the same person still lives there, those taxes are uncollected.
Right, that's the way I understand it, yeah. But it could start from 2010 then.
Right.
Well, I guess there's no reason to put that in the resolution, is there? Because that's a state statute apparently.
Yeah, and this has the
The
That's
statute
just
on, yeah, so, okay.
statutes in it, but, yeah, and that's, 15-16-701 is the one that's there, that says that this has to be prepared in triplicate and presented to the commissioners. That property taxes that are not a lien on real estate and that have been delinquent for 5 years or more, and then it just goes into the details. Have to be submitted to the commissioners, and you guys will examine the list and make necessary corrections within 30 days, so it's not something you have to decide overnight.
But how would you be making
That-
corrections? I mean,
That's
the
a-
list is what the list is.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how you could make a correction with it. I think that's probably just something that's put in there to cover everybody's.
I'll
Yeah,
bet you're
it's
right,
just-
but
it's a-
most of them are gone.
What's that?
I bet you're right, most of those are gone.
I think we're gonna find out a lot of them are unlivable.
Yeah, either unlivable or just been
Or-
destroyed.
yeah,
You know,
or out of
they're
the
pulling them
county.
up to the dumpsters all the time, you know. And just destroying them, taking the aluminum and the frame and everything else is,
Yeah. Yeah, and if they don't come in and get a moving declaration, they're not picking off the taxes. They're Department of Revenue.
right, but until that's
Yeah,
found out, the biggest part is the investigation part, find out what's there, what's
right,
out there.
yep. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work the first year or two.
Of course, there's a known address, all the investigator do is go to that address. If that person isn't there, or the
Yeah,
VINs are-
yeah, you
all
know,
the
I
trailers
don't-
got the VIN numbers on them, don't they? Or do they?
Some do and some
Yeah.
don't. VIN numbers on mobile homes are
Yeah.
extremely hard to find. Some of them, the older ones they used to put in the electrical box. A lot of the older ones had fuse boxes that have been replaced by switches, and, you know, if they removed whatever had the VIN number on it,
Yeah.
a lot of them had a metal, just a sticker on the outside of the mobile home. If they painted it and thought, well, we'll move that and it'll paint nicer without it on there, you know,
Yeah.
it's not, they're not like a car where the VIN number's stamped on the frame and on the, you know, 3 or 4 different places. And now with mobile homes that are 76 or older, the state won't even retitle. So if I had a mobile home that was 76 or older and I wanted to sell it to you, I'd just give you a bill of sale. And if you hooked onto it in the middle of the night and took off, nobody's gonna know.
Now, to relieve some of the work on the sheriff's department, the person doing the investigating wouldn't have to be anybody out of the sheriff's office. In other words, we could just contract somebody to
I
go
think-
through these, and then when particular thing has to be done, then somebody from the sheriff's office probably have to serve it. Is that right? But in the meantime, just this investigation part, say if we wanted to contract Joan or just say anybody, they could get the investigation part done, say, hey, we don't have this, this trailer is available,
that
so
I'm
it'd be
not-
wiped off then.
Yeah, that I'm not sure if they would have to be a member of the sheriff's department or not. I would think that they would have to be covered against any kind of harm that might come to them.
Well, if they were, say we, okay, unless they were contracted.
That's something
Yeah,
maybe
they could be
we
covered
look
under
at the
our workers'
statute to
comp,
see if it
yeah.
allows for that.
Yeah, our workers' comp would cover. But I, like I say, it's no use having a deputy running around spending their time on this when an individual could do it.
Right. And some of it might be able to be done in a normal operation of their business, you know, if they had a list that gave them the addresses of these mobile homes, and they were on a call out somewhere,
Or they're patrolling, just check.
or they, yeah.
And do you have a list with the addresses?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, why don't you, Franklin, check on the investigator option, read the statutes, and report back on that. And Doug, if you'd send that resolution electronically,
Mhm.
you follow up with Carla, I'll follow up with Carla, we'll get that started into a public hearing process. And then you guys go ahead and start the process for 2010, and we'll start getting this whittled down a little bit. What do you think?
I think
Sound
so.
good? All right,
It looks to me like it's long overdue.
yeah, I think so too, yeah.
All right, I'll send you all a copy of this. Franklin, you want me just to put it in the mailbox for you, or do you want an email?
Either way.
Either way, okay,
All right,
all right.
thank you for this.
Yep.
Appreciate
Madam
it.
Chairman,
Yeah, Cheryl?
Just quickly, I'm not sure I understand this. You said 5 years.
Older
Beyond
than
that,
5
you
years.
can't charge them taxes. So, and I'm sorry.